So today we'll try to understand about the storage services. As we already discussed, we have block storage, we have object storage, and we have file storage. So for each storage types, so we have service in AWS. EBS is a block store. Elastic block store. So each EC2 will have EBS value as a root value, root file system. So EBS is relatively fast and it's relatively cheap compared to other storage options like EFS. So the capacity of EBS, right? Capacity is basically 16 terabyte, or I can say 16,000 GB. Each EBS value capacity is 16,000 GB. Okay. So if you observe, right, if I have some server, each server will have a value. Suppose if you see, as of now I have these many servers. Each server will have its own storage, the block storage. Right? If you see, this is the value for this server. This is the storage for this server. Each server, if you see, is going to have one value, that is root value, that is where OS is booted. And if required, right, you can attach additional value. If required, you can attach additional storage to this server. Suppose you need some additional storage for this server. If required, you need additional storage to this server, additional disk. We can create a value and we can attach that value and mount in these servers. So now if you observe, right, AWS has this concept, already we discussed regions and availability zones. Now you have a server. For that server, you will be having a storage, EBS. You have a server. For that server, you will be having a storage, EBS. This is root value. And if you need additional value, you can create additional storage. You can create additional value, additional disk that you can attach to this server. This is you can attach additional value. So the server can have multiple storages, multiple volumes. This is root volume, this is additional volume, which you can mount to this server and use. Guys, these block storages cannot be shared with multiple instances. Suppose I have one more server. We cannot mount this volume to multiple devices, multiple servers. It's not a shared file system. These block storages are not shared file systems. We cannot share with multiple servers. So this server also will have its own root value. This server also will have its own root value. And this server, we cannot attach this value, which is already attached to this server. These block storages are not, shared system, shared storages. If required, you can detach from here and you can attach here. So we cannot parallelly mount multiple instances for this storage. And also there is one more limitation. As we discussed, right? AWS has a regions and availability zones concept, right? Suppose you created a server. This is Mumbai. Let's assume this is in 1A availability zone, AP South 1A. AP South is basically Asia Pacific South, Mumbai. 1A availability zone, this server and the storage. And this is 1B availability zone, another availability zone within the Mumbai region. So you cannot mount the storage which are in different availability zone. This is not possible. Your storage in different availability zone and your server is in different availability zone. Even though they are in a same region, if storage is in different availability zone and your EC2 in different availability zone, this is not possible. You cannot mount. This is not possible. The server and storage should be, there in a same availability zone in case of EBS. So now let me show that how can I create additional storage. Suppose I want to maintain, suppose I am installing, I am having one server. This server has root value. This server has root value. Now I am trying to use separate storage to maintain some folder, some data. Suppose here I have installed, let's give an example, Jenkins. I don't want my Jenkins data to be maintained as part of this root storage. I want to maintain as additional storage. Let's give an example like this. In this server, I'm installing Jenkins. I don't want to maintain all my Jenkins data as part of root file system. I want to maintain as in an additional file system, separate. What can we do here? Create EBS value and attach EBS value to EC2. Then mount directory with EBS, with this EBS. So you can mount your Jenkins home directory, suppose something like this, var lib Jenkins directory, you mount with this storage, this value. So where your all Jenkins data will be maintained, if you have something like this, if you have done something like this, all your Jenkins files, whatever files or folders are getting generated under this folder, will be maintained in a additional value. So you can attach n number of additional values to the servers, and you can mount your file system, your directories with these storages. So let me show how can we create additional value. Guys, before I create additional value for this server, where my server is running, in which region? In which region it is running? It is running in a Mumbai region, AP South 1. And again, in which availability zone it is running? If you see here, this server is running in 1A availability zone. Suppose I want to create a storage, the block storage for this server. Can I create a storage in 1B? Will I able to attach? As we discussed, no. Right? It should be in same zone. So now let me create value. While creating a volume type, if you see, we have a lot of types. Magnetic, SSD. Now SSD volumes are going to give a better performance when you read and write the data, right? This will give better performance, SSDs. Again, general purpose and provisioned IOPS. Provisioned IOPS will give, maximum input output operations per second. You can carry like these many input output operations per second per GB. So if you need a better performance in storage, reading and writing, so you can go for provisioned IOPS. For now, let me take general purpose. Now, my server is in 1A availability zone. I am creating additional storage also in 1A availability zone. So what is the maximum? Right? Maximum is 16,000. This, like this much storage, 16,000 TB. For our just demo purpose, I am just creating with the 5 GB, guys. Okay? Because they will charge. They will charge for this. So I am creating with 5 GB in this availability zone. So let me give some tag. Just now I created with 5 GB. Which is in 1A availability zone. If you see, we just created a storage. We have not attached to any server. So let me connect to this server. If you see, As of now, this server has only one block storage, 10 GB. It's mounted to the root file system. Now I am planning to add additional storage for this server. So we created a storage, we created a value with 5 GB. If you see, as of now, it is not used. It is not used anywhere. This storage I can attach to that this storage I can attach to that server. Select this one, attach value. Here it will list all the servers which are running in that availability zone. My volume is in 1A, so it is listing all the servers which are running in that availability zone. So I can attach to whatever server. So I am attaching to this server. So the device types, leave it. For additional volumes, it will be dev/sdf. For root volumes, it will be dev/sdg. So these are the device types, storage device types. You just leave this as is. Now, it will not be mounted automatically. It will be just attached. We just attached. Now, if you see, I can see one more storage, but we have to mount. You have to mount for whatever directory you want to mount. If you see now, since I have attached, I can see this additional 5 GB storage. But is it in use? What I need to do now? I need to create a file system. Since this is a raw storage, I need to create a file system. Then I need to mount. Suppose you installed Jenkins or whatever, right? Suppose I want to mount to some directory. I need to mount this storage to that directory. For demo purpose, let me create one directory. This directory, if I mount with this storage, whatever files, folders will be maintained or generated under this will be actually maintained in this storage device, will be there in this storage. I just created additional value. As of now, it is not used. Since this is raw storage, I am trying to create a file system, like I am trying to format. So let me format this one. This storage I am formatting. Since it's a raw storage, I am just formatting. Now I formatted, it has created these many blocks and inodes. Since this is the raw storage, for the first time, I have formatted this one. Still, I have not mounted this. One with any directory. Now let me mount. I am trying to mount this directory with this storage. Suppose you want to mount Jenkins directory, you mount your Jenkins directory, var lib Jenkins with this storage, so that all your Jenkins data will be maintained as part of this storage instead of root file system. So let me mount. This is my storage, dev/xvdf, this device. I just so I mounted this directory with this storage. Now if you see, the server has two black devices. This is root, which is mounted to root. This is additional value. It is mounted to this directory. So whatever files and folders will be generated in this directory, right? This will be maintained as part of this storage. If I create some files, whatever I create under this directory, whatever files, folders will be generated under this directory will be maintained as part of this storage. Just permissions issue. Let me change the ownership. So whatever file it's generated under this directory, right? This file will be maintained as part of this storage, this additional value. We attach this value, we mounted this value. Now the data will be part of this one. Whatever data which is getting generated in that directory, whatever we mounted. If you see, now this directory is mounted with this device, this storage. So whatever files, folders will be generated in this one will be maintained in this storage. This is additional value. Now can I attach this additional value now to one more server? Can I attach this storage to one more server? This is a block storage. We cannot attach because it's a block storage, only one server. If required, suppose your EC2 is, you are not able to log into your EC2 server. You are not able to log into your Jenkins server. Your root file system is, having some issue. You are not able to start. So what you can do? You can detach that additional value. You can detach that additional value from that server. You can detach. You can detach from that server and you can attach to one more server and you can use it. You can attach to one more server and you can use it. You cannot parallelly mount it to two servers. You cannot parallelly mount it to. You should not format, guys. You should not format when you are attaching back to another server. If you format, what will happen? We are formatting only once while creating a value, raw value. If you format once again, the data will be lost. All the data will be lost. So now My requirement is something like this. My requirement is this is, let's assume this is my Jenkins server, just to give an example. And I mounted this directory where lib Jenkins with this volume, all my Jenkins data is part of this directory. All my Jenkins data is part of this this storage. Now my requirement is I want to migrate my Jenkins server from one availability zone to another availability zone, or I want to migrate to another availability, another region. I want to migrate my Jenkins server maybe from 1A availability zone to 1B availability zone, or maybe from Mumbai region to maybe Singapore region. Migration, I want to migrate this. How can I migrate? The migration in the sense you need to migrate your data. You cannot physically move these servers from here to here. You need to migrate your data. So for that purpose, we can use snapshot, EBS snapshots. Snapshot. EBS snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but a backup. Nothing but a backup of EBS value. So you can take a backup, and you can periodically, you should take periodically the backup. Suppose if this storage is corrupted, right? If you have at least a backup, you can recover from that backup. So periodically you can take a backup of your EBS values, the storage. If your storage is corrupted, at least you can recover or restore from the snapshots. If you see, this is my value, right? If I need to take a backup, I can take a backup manually by selecting this value, create snapshot manually. Or I can create something like life cycle policy. I can create a life cycle policy. So AWS will periodically take a snapshots from that value. I can define some life cycle policy for this value so that AWS will take care. I can define it is like a cron job, guys. So like it is like a cron job, when it has to take, how frequently it has to take, right? How many volumes it has to retain. If I say last 10, every day or like every 12 hours, it will take a snapshot. It will maintain only recent 10 snapshots, recent 10 backups, right? You can define a life cycle policy for a value, or you can manually take a snapshot, backup of your storage. Let me take this manually. Just I'm giving some name. I'm taking a backup of that storage. Now I have it. The backup is getting created for this value, this storage. I no need to stop the server to take a backup of my storage. the server can be, the storage can be in use while taking a backup. Now my backup is ready. Guys, now if there are any changes or any files or any directories are created under this directory, will it be available in the backup now after taking a snapshot, whatever changes you do? Now I have taken a backup, right? Whatever changes will happen in this directory, some files or folders got updated, created, right? Will it reflect in the backup whatever I have taken now? You have just taken a backup, so it will not reflect. It is not synchronous process. It is not like always backup will sync with your storage, right? When you are taking a backup, whatever changes or whatever files you have, that will be taken as a backup. So periodically, if you take a backup, the changes will be available in the snapshot. Now, suppose this, I want to migrate. Now I want to move my data, right? I have just taken a snapshot. Now I want to move my data, that storage, that data from one region to one availability zone to another availability zone, or one region to another region. With the help of snapshot, I can move my data. So now let me show that this is additional value. Now let me create a one server in 1B. Let me create one server in 1B in another availability zone. Yes, snapshots also chargeable. They will charge for a snapshots. And also if you have more data, it will take some time to create a backup. Everything is chargeable, nothing is free here. With AMI, I can copy, but I don't want to copy entire root. I don't want root file system. I don't want OS. I just want some piece of data which I have mounted. I can take a AMI. I can create a AMI from my server. If you create a AMI from the server, it will create a backup of your root file system. So I don't want my root file system. Okay. So that's why we are just copying the additional values. Yes, we have a life cycle policy, right? We created a life cycle, you have a life cycle policies there. We have an option like retain how many values, retain 10 values, retain 5 values, so that it will delete. It will take every day the backup, and it will maintain only recent 5 backups if you have a retain count as 5. So now let me create a one more server. This server I will create in 1B. I want to migrate my data. I will create in 1B availability zone. Just I am giving server 1B. Now again this server will be having a root storage, its own root block storage. This server also having a root value. This is root EBS. Now let me connect to this one, this server. This is root. This is one more server in another availability zone. So Tanuja is asking, what about live changes, right? It's a backup. So how any backup will work? You are taking a backup. So how any backup will work? Whatever changes will happen, if you want to maintain, periodically you need to take a backup, like every day once, or every day twice. You need to have a backups. It is not synchronous process. The backup, snapshot is nothing but a backup. So if your storage is corrupted, you can restore with your recent backup. You can restore that one with your recent backup. So now let me log into this server. Still, I think I don't have this spam file. Let me. Let me rename. The PEM file which I used is a different one. I used different PEM. So let me connect to this server. Now this is server which we created in 1B, different availability zone. Different availability zone. So it has its own root value. Now I am trying to migrate the data. This additional value, I want to migrate the data. Now what we have done? We have created a snapshot. We have created a snapshot from this value. We created a snapshot from this value. This is my snapshot. Then here I have a server. I created one server now in different availability zone. I have to move my data to here. So I have a snapshot. From snapshot, again, you can create a value. From snapshot, you can create a value. So from snapshot, I will create a value in this availability zone. From snapshot, I can create a value in this availability zone, which I can mount, to this server. So your data is migrated from one availability zone to another availability zone with the help of snapshot. So let me do that. Now let me create a value from the snapshot. Let me go to snapshots. From snapshot, you cannot mount snapshots directly. You cannot mount snapshot directly. You have to create a value from the snapshot. So let me create a value from the snapshot. Now it is asking under which availability zone you want to create this value from the snapshot. Now my requirement is I want to move to 1B. So I am selecting 1B. So this value is from snapshot. This value is from snapshot. So now it is created in 1B. Now I can attach to this server whichever is running in 1B. So let's try to attach value. Now I will attach to this server. So now this is attached to the server which are running in 1B. Now if I see, I will be having two block storages. This is root, this is additional. Whatever I have highlighted, additional. Now here, to whatever directory I want to mount, I can mount. To whatever directory I want to mount, I can mount. Maybe let me create some directory. Now, I just created a directory, nothing is there in this directory. This storage, I can mount with this directory. Guys, this volume is created from a snapshot. Can I format this one again? If I format, what will happen? This is created from a backup. So the data will be lost. So we should not format. So let me do this. I'm just mounting. Now if you see this file, we got this file. So where did we created this file? Where did we created this file? How come the data is reflecting here? We created a value. That value we have taken as a snapshot. It's not permanently mounted, right? You know the Linux concept. You need to, update. This is temporarily. I'm just mounting. I'm not covering all the Linux again. I'm just focusing only on the AWS. So here, the data is reflected here. The data is reflected here, which is migrated from one availability zone to another availability zone. Now, if I want to migrate my data from different region, how can I do that? To different region, again from the snapshot, you have to copy the snapshot. You have taken a snapshot, select the snapshot. There is an option called copy. So you can copy to whatever region. Suppose I want to migrate to Singapore region. You can copy that snapshot to Singapore region. Now let me switch to Singapore region. Again, you copied the snapshot in Singapore region. From this snapshot, you create a value and attach it to the servers which are running in Singapore region. So this is how you can use the storage in AWS. Now, coming to the interview questions, can we update the value EBS value while it is in use? What is the meaning of update? Can we update the value type or size while it is in use? What is the meaning of it? Suppose you just created with 5 GB, your volume you created with 5 GB, and you are running out of storage. You are running out of storage. Let me switch it back to Mumbai. So you just created with 5 GB, lot of files are getting generated. You are running out of storage. So while it is in use, can we change? Right? So modify value. I can change volume type. I can increase volume size. I can increase the storage capacity from 5 GB to maybe 100 GB or 20 GB or 6 GB. But I cannot decrease. The size of the volume can be only increased, not decreased. I can change the volume type. I can increase volume capacity, but I cannot decrease. So we can, suppose let me show that I want to increase to 10 GB. Now I increase this one to 10 GB. It should reflect here. Now if you see, earlier it was 5 GB, now it is 10 GB. So we can modify the value while it is in use. Yes, we can update, you can change volume type, and we can increase volume size, but we cannot decrease. We cannot decrease the volume size. Yes, if your root volume is also running out of, right? So what is the root volume? This one. I can change to 15 GB if you are running out of, right? It is just EBS value. So I have increased this to 15 GB. Now you can see 15 GB capacity, the root value. Now, what is the capacity of EBS value? Sixteen 16 TB or 16,000 GB. If you need more than this, you can create a one more volume and attach. If you need more than this, you can attach one more value. Now in interview, they are asking one more question, right? Recently, like a lot of our students also got this question. How can we recover if you lost your PEM file? So how can we recover? server if you lost your PEM file. Anyone has any idea like what can we do? Now I created a server. Let's take this server. This server. I lost this PEM file. I lost this PEM file. I lost this PEM file. This PEM file. I lost. Now how can I recover that server? So how can I log in? Now I lost this PEM file. I don't have a PEM file to SSH to this server. Like any options you have, like what can we do? We cannot generate from PPK, right? So as we discussed, PEM file is having that key pair. Let me say key pair. Key pair. You got one key. Server is holding a one key. So server is holding one key. Where server is holding? Server is holding where? In which directory? In .ssh user, in authorized keys. Now you are holding one key. You are holding one key. This is your PEM file is nothing but a private key. And this is public key. Now you lost this one. PPK you are using just to connect using PuTTY. PuTTY cannot understand PEM. So you converted a PEM into PPK, private key. So now I lost this one. So how can I recover that server? How can I again SSH to that server? So now, right, I have multiple options. I just want to explain one option with, I can explain one option with the EBS, right? So what I can do? I can create a one more server in the same availability zone with the new key pair. Because I lost the old key pair, I can create one more server in, I can create a one more server in same availability zone. Suppose now my server is running in 1A availability zone. Let me take something like this. Now my server is running. Okay, let me do. My server is running in 1A availability zone. So what I do? I will create a one more server with new key pair. I can create one more server with new key pair, new key pair. So this server will have a new key pair. This has a new key pair. Now I got a new private key. This is new private key. Now what I can do? Now I will stop this server. I will stop this server. I mean to say, for this server only I lost the PEM file. I'll start this server. Can I detach this root value? Can I attach this to this server as an additional value? Can I detach this from this server and can I attach to this server as an additional value? I can attach. Then can I copy the latest public key from here to here? Can I copy normal CP? Because it's the same server, two file systems. Can I copy to this file system? The latest public key, can I copy to this file system? Both are attached to same server. Now I will copy the latest key here. Then I will detach from here. Then I will attach back to this server as a root value. Then I will attach back to this as a root value. Now can I SSH with new key pair? Now can I SSH with new key pair which I have created? So you can do this. But while creating a server with new key pair, you have to create in a same availability zone. Because I cannot attach this one if I create a server in a different availability zone. Guys, I want you guys to do this. I want you guys to do this activity. I am trying to give it as an assignment. Will you able to do, guys? What I am saying here, you lost key pair. Don't delete, you just have it. Okay, don't delete, you just create one server. Assume you lost the PEM file, and I want you to again gain SSH access to that server. So what you can do, create a one new server with new key pair, detach from here and attach back to here again once you copy. So while attaching back to this server, you have to copy as a root value, root device, not as an additional device. When you are attaching back to this original server, you have to copy, you have to attach as a root value. So try once. I will also share the comments. If required, I will share the comments. Okay. So this is one question in the interviews they're asking. How can we recover? Just explain the steps, whatever I have explained. Whatever I have explained now. Just create a new server with new key pair in the same availability zone. Detach from here and attach to this server as an additional value. As an additional value. Copy your latest public key here. You detach from here and attach back to this one as a root value. Then start the server. Then you can access. So explain these steps if you get this question in the interview. Now there are a lot of methods. You have a session manager, right? I'm just explaining whatever is related to this one, right? There is a session manager also. You can access using session manager. You need to install some agent, right? There are a lot of methods. I'm just explaining it is somehow it is related to EBS so that you can understand how can you mount, how can you detach, how can you attach. There are a lot of methods. SSM. So now this is about EBS, Elastic Block Store. Now let's suppose I have a requirement. I want to have a shared file system. I want to share my file system to multiple servers, irrespective whether it is in 1A, 1B. Can I use EBS, guys? Suppose I have servers. I have servers in 1A. I have servers in 1B. Now I need a shared file system for my project. As per my requirement, I want to have a shared file system. Can I use EBS as a shared file system? EBS is a block store which will not be mounted, which cannot be mounted to multiple devices. In this case, I can go for a NFS. What is NFS? It's a network file system. It's a shared file system. Now in AWS, you no need to create your own NFS. In AWS, there is a service for this. We call it as a EFS. Elastic File System. Elastic File System. So this EFS is nothing but a native NFS implementation. Native NFS implementation. So you no need to manage your network file system. AWS will manage. Right? So if I have a EFS, this file system can be shared with multiple servers, irrespective whether this is in 1A, 1B, or 1C. Within the same region, I can mount with all these servers. Shared file system. So there is a service called EFS, Elastic File System. Scalable, elastic, cloud native NFS file system. It's basically NFS file system only. Scalable and elastic. So what is the meaning of elastic? Right? You can maintain, like, there is no limitation for the file system. You can maintain whatever, how much data you can maintain. You can maintain. It will automatically grow or shrink. Whenever you upload the files, it will grow the capacity, right? It will shrink when you remove the files from this file system. So it's a shared file system. You can mount with a number of servers. So let me create a EFS here. I'm trying to create a file system. Under which network you are trying to create this file system? As of now, my servers are in the same network. I am creating in this network only, default network. Now, I got a file system. This file system, I can mount with these servers, shared file system. In the same region. Now, as of now, it is in same region. EFS is a region level service. EFS is a regional level service. So my file system is in Mumbai region. All the servers, whether it is in 1A, 1B, 1C, I can mount with that file system. Now I can mount that file system to all these servers shared. Now I have a file system. This file system I can mount with those servers. So how to mount, right? How can you mount? You just need to install some client software, guys. Because this is a network file system, you need a client software. You need to install client software. You can install either NFS client or EFS client. You need to install client software in those servers. Then you can mount with the help of client software. So you need to install client software in these machines, the machines where you want to mount. So let me install client software. Let me connect to this server. Here I need to install client software. You can use NFS client or EFS client software. So I'm installing NFS client software. Then I can mount with whatever directory. I'm creating one directory. So this directory I can mount with that network file system, that EFS. In AWS, we call it as EFS, Elastic File System. So I can mount using this command. So here, if you observe, we are using, this is NFS, that EFS host name or domain name, right? So we are trying to mount this one with whatever directory. My directory here is, I want to mount with this directory. Guys, if I try to execute this one, you may get a timeout issue because I have to open some port in the NFS, that network file system, that NFS, that EFS, in that EFS, while creating a EFS, I have to open some port. Anyone has any idea what is the port which we have to open? What is the NFS port? Now we are trying to mount this server with some other file, network file system in the background, that is kind of a server. So it will try to mount with NFS. You have to open a port in the file system. So what is the file system? That NFS port 2049. If you see now, it is not able to mount because you will get a timeout. The port is not opened. So we have to open the port. It will be using some security group. Let me. It is using this security group. it is using this security group. You can go and open the port in this security group. This is the default security group. So try to go to the security groups, right? You can open that port. Go to the security groups. It is using this security group. Here I need to open the port. If you don't know, right, you can select this one, NFS 2049. 2049. For now, I am opening for all the IPs. Now, let me try to mount now. Now, if you see, this directory is mounted with this one. This is basically EFS. In the background, it is network file system. And I can mount this to another server wherever it is running, whether it is running in 1A, 1B, right? So if I want to mount with some other server, these servers also I can mount. Let me connect to this server. It has its own block storage. It has its own block storage. Now I'm trying to attach network file system. So let me create. So this is Ubuntu server, guys. Let me install NFS client software. For Ubuntu, M will not work. APT. So I'm trying to install client software. So here, let me create some directory. Now nothing is there, and this directory I will mount with same NFS. So now this server, this directory is also mounted with same file system, and this server, this directory also mounted with same file system. Now it's a shared file system. As of now, nothing is generated, nothing is there here, nothing is here. So it's a shared file system. So it will be in sync. Permissions issue. Let me change the ownership. If you see, both are sharing the same file system. The moment something is created or updated in this server, it will reflect here because both are using same file system. If you see, this is created in this server and it is reflecting in this server also because it's a shared file system, network file system. If some changes happens here also I may need to change the ownership. If you see, it will reflect here. The moment I update something there, it will reflect here because both are pointing to the same file system. Both are pointing to the same file system. It's a shared file system. So, in which use case you want to use? Suppose you have multiple web servers and you have some static files. You have multiple web servers and you have some static files like images, documents, right? So, for both web servers, I can use shared file system so that whatever files, static files like images, whatever you have, right? So it will be in sync in both servers. You can, use network file system. Basically, in the background, it is, you can use EFS. In the background, it is NFS to share the data between the servers, multiple servers. Like you can use for, managing the static data, some media files like images, documents, right? So that is what I am saying, static web server, right? You can share shared file system. Suppose all the servers requires, should have access to some content. Multiple servers should have access to the same content, right? So then you can go for a EFS, that is network file system. So EBS, what is the use of EBS? Guys, can't I use EFS as my root volume for my servers? Can I use EFS as root volume for my servers? Can I boot? So each server will have its own EBS volume, that is root volume. That cannot be shared. This is a file system which you can share, right? EFS, multiple servers can have access to the same storage if I go for a EFS. So how the charges are applicable in EFS, right? EFS you can upload. There is no limitation, EFS capacity, right? The charges will be applicable based on the how much data you are storing, right? Per GB, they will charge. It's a shared file system. And there is a one more storage called S3, object storage. There is a one more storage called S3. So it's a object storage. How different is it from block storage and file storage? Now can I access, guys, can I read and write the data from block storage and file storage without mounting to the server? Do I need a EC2 to read and write data from EBS and EFS? Can I read and write data without mounting the storage to the server in case of EBS and EFS? You have to mount and you can read and write the data from the block store and file store. There is a one more storage called S3, object storage, right? In case of object storage, if you see, we can access the object storage. You can read and write data without mounting to the servers. Each object, whatever object we will upload to the object storage, we will have a unique endpoint. You will have a unique endpoint. You no need to mount the storage to the servers. You can access the data from anywhere using that unique endpoint. So first we need to create a S3 bucket. If you want to use, you need to have a S3 bucket. So why bucket? Why they are calling as a bucket, right? So in general terms or in daily life, we will use buckets. What it will like? Why we will use buckets? To carry something, right? So they have given name as S3 bucket. It will carry some data. So we need to create a S3 bucket. Then you can upload, you can access the files from the S3 bucket without mounting to any server. So you have a one more type of storage called S3. Scalable storage in the cloud. So if you see, the moment I selected S3, here you can see it has switched to global. It has switched to global. Does it mean S3 is a global service? You can access data from anywhere. You can access data from anywhere, but the storage will be maintained in some region. The storage will be maintained in some region. S3 does not require a region selection, but while creating a bucket, you have to select under which region that storage has to be created. As of now, I don't have any S3 buckets. So let me create S3 bucket. If you observe, while creating a S3 bucket, it is asking us to select the region, under which region you want to create a bucket. So I'm selecting this one. So let me try to create. I will get an error. Bucket with same name already exists, but I don't have a bucket with this name. I don't have any S3 bucket. Why I am getting this error? Right? S3 bucket name should be unique across global. It should be unique across complete AWS system. No S3 buckets will have a same name in AWS. So you will use some unique name, some your application name, something like this, Mithun Tech. Something like this. So I created one S3 bucket. Without mounting S3 bucket, how can I upload the data? What are the options I have to upload the data to the S3 bucket? I no need to mount this one to any server. Then how can I upload the data? What are the options we have? Without mounting, we can update, we can upload using GUI. We can upload using CLI, and we can upload using API or SDK. So we are trying to, we can upload files to this bucket using GUI. Guys, AWS, how many ways we can manage AWS resources? Right? As of now, we are only following GUI. As of now, we are only using GUI, graphical user interface. As of now, we are only managing AWS resources, like you are creating a servers, terminating a servers, right? Using GUI. So we can manage using CLI. You can manage using API or SDK. Or you can use other infrastructure as a code softwares like Terraform. CLI, command line interface. API, application programming interface. SDK, software development kit. Just to give an example, Boto or Boto 3. It's Python SDK for AWS. SDK for AWS. So AWS resources can be managed in so many ways. GUI, graphical user interface. CLI, command line interface, right? And API, application programming interface. SDK, software development kit. So in the otherwise, I can use infrastructure as a code, Terraform. So Terraform in the background, it will use API to connect to the AWS, and it will in the background it will use the application programming interfaces. So now I can manage these many ways. So I can upload S3, the objects into S3 bucket. I can upload objects into S3 bucket using GUI, using CLI, or using API, or Terraform, whatever, right? I no need to mount the server. So I can upload. Here, if you see, from GUI also I can upload. If I have configured AWS CLI, I can upload using AWS CLI also. So I can upload some files, or I can add some files, right? So tomorrow we'll continue. Today I just created a S3 bucket. Tomorrow we will discuss about, there are a lot of concepts in S3. Object lifecycle, S3 replication, storage classes. There are a lot of concepts. We'll continue tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow on S3, guys. Okay. Versioning. There are a lot of topics. We'll try to cover all those details. Okay. So try to complete whatever assignment I have given. Try to recover a server, right? If you lost a PEM file. So tomorrow we'll continue, guys. If you have any questions, queries, feel free to ask in the Skype group, right? I will try to respond you back whenever I see your messages. Thank you, guys. We'll continue tomorrow.